This is our lesson on absolute values. This is part 2 in your packet. We are going to work a few problems from it. First, I want you to note that the vertical bars are the absolute value symbols. And if you remember, what do absolute values do? Absolute values turn any number positive. So positive stays positive, negative becomes positive. That means I can plug a positive number in here, or I could plug in a negative number in here. That means that for every absolute value function, I'm going to have two answers. Every single one is going to have two answers every single time. Okay? So, let's look at our first equation. To get rid of the absolute value symbols, I have to write the positive case, what we call the positive, and the negative. Okay, so positive case, you write the problem without the absolute value symbols. You just write it the way that it is. In the negative case, I'm going to keep the left side of the equation the same. Okay, so the part that's inside the symbol stays the same, and on the other side, we're going to switch the sign. So now I have a negative 4 instead of a positive 4. Now solving, you solve it the same way you solve any linear. So how do I get rid of the 1? That's right, we're going to add 1 to both sides. So now I have p equals to 5. That is one of my solutions. Let's find the other solution. Okay, again, add 1, add 1. What do we get over here? P equals negative 3. Now some people may say, I don't see it. Well, if you plug in 5, 5 minus 1 equals 4. Absolute value of 4 is 4. So this checks. Plug in negative 3. Negative 3 minus 1 gives me negative 4. Absolute value of negative is a positive. So an absolute value of negative 4 gives me positive 4. So this one also checks. So I have both answers. All right, let's look at number 6. Same thing. I need my positive case and my negative case. Okay, positive case, we write the problem the way it is with no absolute value bars. Easy, easy. Negative case, keep the stuff inside the absolute value the same. Change the sign of the other side. So the positive 2 becomes a negative 2. Now we're going to solve. So, how do I get rid of the 5? This is crazy. Well, the 5's positive, so I'm going to have to subtract it. Okay, so now I have negative b equals negative 3. Get rid of the negative by dividing by negative 1, of course. And b equals positive 3. Okay? Same thing on the other side. Your negative case, you're still subtracting 5. So it's the same steps that you just did, only now instead of negative 3, you have negative 2, negative 5 gives me negative 7. So divide by that negative 1, and b equals positive 7. Okay, so let's check it. Okay, 5 minus 3, does that equal 2? Yes. Take the absolute value, still equals 2. Okay, 5 minus 7, negative 2, take the absolute value, you get positive 2, so it checks. So let's pause for a second and write down our steps. So step 1 is to write positive and negative case. Okay, and here's where we get to do a little star. Negative means that you change the sign. Must change the sign of the other side. Okay? Step 2 is you simply solve it, not a big deal. Step 3 is to check your answer. Okay? Let's do number 11. Number 11 looks a lot more complex. There are some common mistakes that people tend to make. The first mistake is they will either 10 minus 10, oh, it's 0. Okay, here's the problem. That 10 is multiplying times the absolute value. So I can't just subtract these two things right here. The next common mistake is people take this wonderful negative 10 and they start distributing it. We cannot distribute. Okay, so little note, no distribute. You cannot distribute into an absolute value. Okay, absolute values are not parentheses. Okay, it is an operation. So we still need to get rid of those 10s because I need the absolute value by itself. So I'm going to subtract this 10 right here. Subtract the one that's being added. So everything else stays the same. I still have negative 10, absolute value, negative 8k plus 4. Okay? Now that's equal to what? 0. What a wonderful thing. Okay? Can it equal 0? Yeah, that's okay. All right, still need to get rid of this negative 10 right here. Cannot distribute. It's multiplying. Opposite of multiply is divide. So divide both sides by negative 10. So now I have my absolute value. Sorry, the lights went off. Let's wait for them to come back. There we go. And that's equal to 0, because 0 divided by anything is just 0. Now I can write my positive and negative case. Okay, so positive case, I have negative 8k plus 4 equals 0. Negative case, oh, check it out. They're going to be the exact same because we're equal to 0, and you can't have a plus 0 and a minus 0. So this particular question only has one answer, and that's okay. That's okay. Well, let's go ahead and solve it. So I'm going to move the 4 to the other side, and I'm running out of room on my paper, so I'm going to have to scratch this out, and I'm going to come over here. So I end up with negative 8k equals to negative 4. All right. Got to divide by the coefficient. The coefficient is the negative 8. So now k equals to what? Reduce that. What do you get? Very good. 1/2. So when it equals to 0, I have a special case where there is only one answer because you can't have a plus 0 and a minus 0. And this concludes absolute values.